Welcome back. I'm Mundra Pratap Singh. You're joining us on News X. Our big focus this hour. Amidst escalating tensions in West Asia and rising global crude oil prices, there is some relief for India's crucial energy supply lines. The LPG tanker Shivalik has safely arrived at Mundra Port after crossing the strategic Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical energy corridors. Shivalik was amongst two Indian-flagged LPG carriers, the other being Nanda Devi, that were granted transit through the waterway by Iran. While Shivalik has already docked in Mundra, Nanda Devi is expected to arrive at the Kandla Port on the 17th of March. Together, the two vessels are carrying nearly 92,700 metric tons of LPG to India. Officials say 24 Indian-flagged vessels with more than 600 Indian seafarers are currently operating in the Persian Gulf region, all reported safe so far. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar says India is actively engaging with Tehran to ensure the continued movement of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, a passage that carries nearly 20% of global oil trade. With crude prices climbing amidst the crisis, ensuring uninterrupted shipping through this vital route has become even more critical for India's energy security. According to Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, diplomatic engagement with Iran is already yielding results, though transit permissions for Indian vessels are currently being handled on a case-by-case basis. Sumit Peer, political analyst, joins us live. Dr. Sharat Kohli, senior economist, is also live with us. Ambassador Jaishankar Gupta, former diplomat, joins us on the broadcast. Comrade Bhushan Diwan, defense expert, also is with us live. Ambassador Jaishankar Gupta, what do you make of INS Shivalik's docking? Okay, I think we've lost Ambassador Gupta. Sumit Peer, are you there with us? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay, yes. Sumit Peer, let me bring you in here. How big a diplomatic win for India is this? And how did we really manage to get safe passage for our ship to dock today? We're also expecting another to dock tomorrow. This is very good news for energy security. This is very good news for stabilizing our supply of LPG and also of crude oil, Sumit. And this also shows how the stand we have taken on the conflict has helped bear good results for our citizens.
Uday, thank you very much for having me on your show. Well, sir, it's a very good news to begin with because, first of all, it was, and it never will be our conflict. It is between America, Israel, and Iran. Let them settle their own things. As far as we are concerned, we have good relations with all of the three parties. Our transit through these routes is because we have a good relation with Iran. We have spoken to them and we have told them, look, we want our things to be transiting through this. And let's be also reminded that our Navy escorted our tankers. So even if you go back in 2003 or 4, there was also such incidents which have happened in the past. And there have been instances when it's through Strait of Hormuz, the Navy had to escort the tankers, and Indian Navy has always delivered. They've escorted the tankers and they've come home safe. So as far as India is concerned, we have both the things. Look, we trust you. We have given you all the due, whatever you call izzat. We have spoken to you. Let our tankers pass. It is not our war. At the same time, we ensure that our Navy escorts the tankers so that there is any problem that can be handled, a risk can be mitigated. And if I look at Iran, Uday, honestly, with 100 ships at the bottom of the Persian Gulf, I don't think they can really irk India. Nobody can mess with Indian Navy. Nobody can take the wrath of Indian Navy, which is rated today better than the NATO's Navy. It's a full blue water Navy. It's a full naval power. So these people also realize their position. India is a gigantic power. India is a superpower in making. And now the might of Indian Army or the military is number 3rd or 4th in the world. By rankings to rankings, it might differ. So you don't want to start another Pandora's box. You don't want to upset India. We are for all peace and tranquility, but push comes to shove. All the options are option. All the things are open. This is what it tells. It's like what we call as military diplomacy. It's like, is heart military, is heart diplomacy, whichever way you understand, whatever goes down your throat, that is what we are ready with. And this is what other countries have to do. If for the example, China or anybody who wants to pass their supplies through Strait of Hormuz, you might want to talk to Iranis or not, but definitely you have to send your military along with it. And if you look at the position in Iran today, Uday, honestly, I don't know, swear to God, but tomorrow, this time, how many of the people, if we have talked today, will be alive and kicking tomorrow after 24 hours? We don't know. The situations are very fluid. There's a bounty on pretty much everybody's head. So the things are tricky, but India is able to manage with its military and diplomatic clout put together. And the position of India is where nobody can dare to challenge us or our presence in anywhere in the world. That is given, and that is very clear and explicit. Let it to be Iran or anybody for that matter in the world. We are here for business. We are not here for trouble. Don't get into our way. If you get into our way, we know how to mitigate trouble. This way or that way. Uday.
Yes, the fact is, of course, Dr. Sharat Kohli, that we are seeing oil prices continue to rise world over. Now, the cascading effect of that is going to be felt on the entire world. But do you believe these crude oil deliveries coming in, as we've seen today, are going to help ease the burden and hopefully not lead to any spike in India per se, Dr. Kohli? Will these also help the stability of gas supply as well, with more expected tomorrow? Another ship, I think, expected tomorrow to dock as well. There are certain vessels which are still stuck. I think about 22 as we speak, Dr. Kohli. Is it important that we get safe passage for those as well, economically?
Yes, good evening, Uday, to you, my fellow panelists and the viewers. Indeed, you see, we should not forget that gas supply and energy supply is a constant phenomena. Two vessels has arrived, that's very good, but then it might help us for some time. But kind of consumption we have, 55 lakh gas cylinders in demand. And suddenly when 80 lakh plus people start demanding, obviously it's going to create a problem in terms of supply. So there was a panic, there was black marketing, there was hoarding. Some people tried to make hay while the sun was shining, and so on and so forth, whatever way you want to put it. But yes, we do need constant supply. The 22 odd containers stuck in the Strait of Hormuz also have to pass through, because this will, the two containers arriving will give us a temporary relief. But then we need to ensure that there is a constant supply, because we are heavily dependent, although the good thing is that our production has gone up by 25%. If there is any further elbow room to enhance this production, I think that should also be done, because lesser the dependence, the better would be our position. But a very important point here, Uday, is that America is at this point of time is seemingly losing the war on economic front. Because in American economy, I was talking to somebody in the US, it is hurting. The energy price rise in America is hurting the Americans. President Trump is feeling the pain. He's realized the fact. And he just gave the statement a while ago that as soon as the war stops, prices are going to fall. Obviously, this is no rocket science. Anybody, even a child, would know that if the war stops, crude oil will go back to its normal, and of course, the prices will drop. So I thought he was going to explain some theory behind price rise, demand supply, some new economic theory coming out of Keynes or some other book, where it was simply that when the war stops, the prices are going to fall down. So I think it is hurting America. America is also a major producer of oil. We should not forget that, through the shale technology. But then it has led to rising prices of energy in America. And I think Iran is hitting, Uday, where it hurts you the most. And economically speaking, I have been doing, a dozen shows every day on the economics of the situation, on the economics of war. And my own team, which works with me, has told me categorically, sir, look, Iran has won the war as far as economy is concerned. They may have been, on their knees because of their hospitals, their schools, 160 innocent girls of primary school getting killed. Their government offices may have been destroyed. Their buildings may have been destroyed. More than 2,000 people may have died. That's fine. Militarily, America and Israel have an upper hand. Iran cannot face the military fire of these two countries combined. But Iran now knows where to hurt. Look at what is happening in Dubai. Dubai, DIFC, one of key financial centers of Dubai, where I've been a number of times, has been hit. Citigroup has packed off. PwC has packed off. A lot of American companies are packing off. I think this is far more than the damage which America has done to Iran, because this damage will be irreparable. The companies will never come back. Dubai as a real estate hub. So, the point I'm trying to make here is that Iran is hurting economically. And look, the world is on the knees because of crude oil prices. Look at what is happening to rupee. A dollar as a currency, it is measured in dollar index. There are 6 currencies which are measured. There is Japanese yen, euro, British pound, Swiss franc, Swedish krona, and Canadian dollar. The basket of these 6 currencies, they are measured against dollar. Dollar may have gained in terms of this index, but not because of dollar's intrinsic strength. It is simply because dollar is being demanded more because of the crude oil prices. So it's a very difficult situation. I would say more than geopolitically, geo-economic situation as of now is in chaos. It's all because of Iran. Geopolitical situation may have been in chaos because of America and Israel, but geo-economic situation has been disturbed completely by Iran, and that is where I feel that Iran vis-a-vis economy has got an upper hand, but India is in a very comfortable position. Our diplomatic relations with Iran are very good. Iran called us a friend. We call Iran as a friend. I think all the people, the voices coming from opposition when Khamenei died, they said you didn't condole the death and why did you do this? I think they should now be quiet because Iran foreign minister himself and the president called India as a friend, which is the reason why two of the ships have been allowed to pass. And I'm sure the rest of the 22 stuck there, Uday, also will come through. Of course, war is a very evolving situation. I would like to add here, each day for me is a new day in war. No long-term prediction, even short-term prediction can be made. And you get 1 million statements from President Trump. Sometime in the afternoon, he wins the war. In the evening, he says, I'm going to hit them harder. In the next afternoon, he says, we'll be needing more. Then he says, I need NATO countries to send the ships. I'm compiling a list of Trump's remarks. And, I have filled up the whole notebook by now. And I think my Trump mood index, which I've made in office, is at its best as of now.
Okay. Let me, take that to you, Ambassador. Beg your pardon, Commodore Bhushan Diwan. Commodore Bhushan Diwan, because the fact, of course, very clearly is that, navigating right now the maritime region is becoming the biggest challenge, given the theatre of war is fast expanding with each passing day. Commodore Diwan, in this scenario, of course, how big a win is it that the safe passage has been ensured of Shivalik and one more ship tomorrow and Nanda Devi, and also Commodore Diwan, now the 22 that are left. What is the procedure normally? Is it permission case by case or is it a mass permission that sort of the MEA helps get from the Iranian authorities? How does it work, Commodore Diwan? And also, how hopeful are we that these 22 ships also could be back home? What is the kind of timeline we're looking at?
Thank you very much, Uday. Good evening to you and all my respected co-panelists. First, I'm delighted to hear the words of Sumit P. to say that India, of course, he said, is a great power in the making. Well, of course, we have arrived, not fully, so the world cannot take us lightly. But at the same time, Iran is very, very clear that they have to hurt USA, Israel, and their allies. India is not their ally, so Iran doesn't want to pick up cudgels with everybody, and so on and so forth. Even though you might have signed the condolence book late or whatever, that is, Iran would not like to touch except USA, Israel, and their allies, or those who are supporting them, like say Kuwait and Dubai and Saudi, who are giving their land to attack on Iran. Having said that, now let me tell you that from Strait of Hormuz daily, about 5 million barrels per day pass for India. Our 60% oil is from Gulf. However, LPG is much more serious, and this crude oil comes by way of VLCCs, very large carrier ships, and they are 2 tons and so on, 2 million barrels each one carries. So if on the other hand, LPG is a more tricky situation where we are stuck, and oil we have about 2 months reserves, roughly. And our ready reserves to be used in Orissa and so many other places within India. However, LPG, we are in a very sticky situation. One is Ujjwala. Over last decade, our 15 million tons per annum consumption has gone to 30 million tons per annum. And out of this 30 million tons per annum, 60% we are importing. For every 10 cylinders consumed by us, LPG, 6 are coming from overseas. And LPG is a tricky issue because barring many of us may have in the cities, PNG or CNG comes from LNG, those spherical containers. Qatar is the main source supplier. And Iran also has a lot of undiscovered, but untapped LNG reserves. However, LPG is a different story. LPG comes from only 3 countries, Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar. Now, LPG again has got specialized cylinders. VLCC, why I mentioned 2 million barrels. However, the LPG tankers, they are called VLGC, very large gas carriers. what do they do? They are only about 50,000 tons capacity. So our consumption is about 30 million tons, out of which we are exporting about 20 million tons. And which means if you work out to 50,000 tons per container, in 1 week we require that at least in 3 days, 2 containers should come. This very large gas carriers, 2 containers, like Shivalik and Nanda Devi, every 3 days. Else we are in problem. We got only 15 days stock with us. Now that is one issue. Second issue is that there are 2 things. One is Hormuz being blocked by Iran, and I think they will allow us. They have given us a blanket thing, but still they may talk case to case with us because Iran will allow us. But however, we must not forget there are 2 issues. One is that, of course, Indian naval ships are escorting these vessels after they exit Strait of Hormuz. Persian Gulf itself, the entry of which from Arabian Sea is called Strait of Hormuz, is a narrow passage of 29 kilometers, 3 kilometers channel for going up, 3 kilometers for coming out. However, and depth 50 meters, no problem at all. However, the full Persian Gulf going up to from here to Tehran right side and going up to Kuwait on the left side is about 1,000 kilometers, about 200 kilometers wide. So facing Iran, facing Bandar Abbas is about UAE and all that. The point I'm making is, one issue is blockage of traffic. Second issue is the production capacity is being hit by Iran bombing. All right. And that is about 20%. Even if the 100% passage is allowed to us, which again is a tricky issue, even if it is allowed to us, still we'll have shortage of 20%. So these are the mechanics of the whole thing. And but I am very hopeful, I'm very clear, very strongly hopeful that these 22 ships, 4 ships have been named also, they will be allowed to come out, because we are not fighting on Iran's side or America's side. But I must tell you one more thing. As Dr. Kohli also mentioned, even USA is an oil producer, and in this whole game, the longer it prolongs, Russia is the one to benefit. Why? Russia is as big a producer. And because
Comrade Ivan, I'll come back to you. Let me quickly join Ambassador Gupta as well for a quick comment before I come back to you all for another round of comments. Ambassador Jaishankar Gupta, you know, there has been a lot of politicking as well within India over our position on the conflict. The opposition has been attacking the government on its stance and stand. But do you believe now this stand is bearing the right results for the citizens of India, as we have seen with the docking of this ship today?
You know, this is a very, very delicate situation internationally. We have to walk a tightrope. We have to have good relations with Iran. We also need good relations with Israel and US, and also with all the GCC states. In GCC states, we have about 1 crore Indians settled there. And with Iran, we have these passage problem as well as some import of energy, which has declined, and we have the Chabahar port where we need to access the Central Asian countries. So we have a very, very tight rope walking in all the 3 issues. And this is why I think our diplomacy has done wonderful job keeping everybody in good humor. Iran has already called us a friend, and I just heard a few minutes ago that all the 22 ships which are held up in the Gulf will be allowed to pass without any problem. 6 of them are LPG tankers. So I don't see any problem in the near future, and I don't think Iran will somehow block our carriers. No, they will not. They want to have good relations with India. They have indicated so. In fact, their ambassador in Delhi, their foreign minister, their deputy foreign minister, and their prime minister, president, all of them have so indicated. So I don't anticipate any problem so far as the supply of gas and other energy products from the region is concerned. The real constraint is the production. Like Qatar has already been hit, and therefore they stopped production of LPG for a few days. I don't know whether they have restarted it or not. Similarly, Kuwait has also been under attack. What is the state of their production? I don't know. Because our stocks of LPG in the country, they last only for about 10 to 12 days, maybe 15 days. And we don't have the storage capacity for them. Our own production is approximately 40% of total consumption. So 60% has to come out from somewhere. And if the production centers are hit, then obviously there would be shortage in the country. And as rightly mentioned, after Ujjwala Yojana, our consumption of LPG has gone up tremendously. And therefore, we have to depend on the smooth flow of energy from the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. That is an essential requirement, but we don't know how the war will develop in the coming days. If the production centers in the Gulf are damaged or they are attacked, then obviously we will be hit as well, and we will have to conserve, and reduce our consumption of LPG. Or so far as the crude is concerned, I don't anticipate any problem because Russian crude will continue to flow into the country. We also have good stock. I think 80 to 90 days of stockpile is there with us. But so far as the LPG is concerned, I think we will have to be monitoring the situation very closely, and we'll have to find out other sources if possible. I do not know what are the other sources, whether we can, import from Russia this kind of thing. If it is economically viable, we will have to explore that as well. So I would suggest that government of India will keep a close watch on all this, and they are
And that balancing
actually
act, that
walking
balancing
a
act,
very
Sumit,
tight.
that balancing act, Sumit, must continue. That balancing act, Sumit, must continue. These are good offices that we built through our relations, and those good offices obviously do help when it comes to crisis situations like this one.
Uday, you're absolutely right. Look, the balancing act is helping, but understand that two still variables in the equation. One is the production as such is hit because Iran is hitting everybody else except Israel and America, by the way. So they're hitting every other country and hitting their refineries, hitting their distilleries. Even they might very soon hit desalination plants and power plants. It's a matter of time. That's point number one. Point number two is literally what we have seen happening in Iran. Do we know after 5 days who's in charge? It's not a normal situation today. Most of the people whom we may be talking with would be on an Israel or American hit list. Anybody of them would be evaporated and can go even tonight. So even if you talk to somebody today, maybe tomorrow morning he's not there, he's already gone. So that makes situation very tricky. Today, the local commanders are literally controlling everything, and if I may say, it is not on the goodwill and ramo karam of Iran only we are able to transit our things because we have the military might, we have the power, we are a power. Nobody will dare to mess around with us. That is also one of the reasons, why they have been nice to us and not to so many countries. The question here is now the supplies can come from Canada, they come from Russia, they can come from some parts of the America as well, but the cost will be different. We have to be ready to bear the cost. Look, Modi did not start this war, BJP did not start this war. If Trump wants to fight Khamenei or Israel wants to fight Khamenei, what can we do? The whole world is getting impacted. We are a part of it. Our diplomacy can leverage to some extent, but beyond a point, don't expect diplomacy to pull rabbit out of the hair. Because the situation is like this. This is not a normal situation, sir. It's a war. Khamenei is gone. We don't know what is the status of Mujtaba. We know who will be there tomorrow and will not be there tomorrow. And if you look at those 10 names where you have a bounty of $10 million and Israel going after them, we know it's a matter of time. So after such a situation, we have to be very careful. Our expectations have to be realistic from the diplomacy. We have to find alternates. And yes, if there's a war, there'll be hardships. We might have to face some, problems. We might have to face some emergencies. Our government is doing best. Modi government is doing best. Dr. Jaishankar is doing best.
And this comes on a day when Donald Trump has also made an appeal to forcefully open the Strait of Hormuz, Commodore Devan. How do you view that appeal? Right now, he's not named India, but what do you believe India's position should be if India is also included in that appeal?
Yeah, the point is USA also does not want the oil prices to go up because the whole world, Russia is going to benefit a lot if the oil prices go up. Every $10 increase per barrel means $25 billion profit into the coffers of Russia. That is one. Second thing is, even with the shortage, we have, for example, crude 2 months stock with us, no problem. But every $1 increase per barrel amounts to $10 billion loss in our kitty. Why? The price will go up.
Yes.
So overall supply, global supply, number one, versus overall demand.
Okay.
So that is about 100 billion barrels
Yes.
crude I'm talking also.
Yes.
So which means
I'm out of time, Dr. Kohli. 30 seconds to you. 30 seconds to you. Last word. I'm out of time.
Well, I hope the crisis gets resolved very soon, and I don't think people need to panic. I like to just pass on that people don't need to panic. We are in complete command of situation, and we'll just have to take one day at
Right.
a time. We cannot make any long-term prediction as of now.
Yes, Ambassador Gupta.
Yes, I fully share with Dr. Shahid Kohli that we should not panic. The government is monitoring the situation. We have a great diplomacy. We also are backed by the military might, and therefore we would be able to resolve this problem without any problem. And if necessary, I think we will have to reduce some consumption of LPG for a while. So people should be ready to
All right.
face that.
Okay. I'm afraid we've run out of time, so I'm going to have to take a quick break at that point. My thanks to our guests for joining us. We're stepping into this short commercial. The news continues on the other side.
Sip, sip, jira, sip.